Hi, I'm Kent. You probably can't tell, but I've got a secret. I'm time challenged.
I had what seemed like a million patients to see. The clinic was full. Oh, I should have known. Instead, I did 7 routine vaccinations and 3 sniffles before finally getting around to seeing Penny. And by then, it was too late.
She's a vet. Penny's a chicken.
Hannah, you are not a failure. This is just a setback. You and I both know you can recover from it. Now, we have someone new with us tonight. Sir, would you like to introduce yourself?
My name is Kent.
Hello, Kent.
We're very glad you could join us, Kent. You can sit down if you'd like. What brings you here?
I need more time.
You need more time?
Yes, there just never seems to be enough of it.
Kent, it may surprise you to know that we're all issued the same amount of time each day. It's a simple 24 hours that doesn't discriminate. It is constant and irreversible. The problem is yours. Until you recognize that, there's nothing we can do for you here. Feel free to come back when you're ready.
Kent, the problem is yours.
That's it for tonight, folks. See you back here on Friday.
I left there that day not ever expecting to be back. The irony of it all was, I thought it was just a big waste of time.
Hey, did you see the game last night?
Go away! I didn't get out of here until 10 o'clock again.
Too bad. Hey, can I have a look at what you've come up with so far from McCaffrey's?
I haven't finished it yet.
That's okay. I just want to take a peek.
Well, this is Kent. Oh, hi, Deb. Thanks. Yes, I know. I'll put together the sales forecast, and I won't let you down.
You have started McCaffrey's, though, right, Kent?
Not quite, but I'm about to. Relax, Joe. I have all the necessary research and information right here at my fingertips. It's here somewhere. You're not sitting on it, are you?
Kent, we've crashed again.
You've got to be joking.
And the caterer just called about next week's product launch. You got to finalize the menu.
They're our biggest client, Kent.
It'll be okay, Joe. I promise. Why don't I do the invitations? I'll write up the report, and we'll get this thing sorted out once and for all. Cheers. Sorry I'm late, everybody. I hope I didn't miss much. Well, the ergonomic chairs. I've looked into that. Hello, this is Kent.
You have mail. You have mail.
I'm gonna have to get back to you later on that, guys.
Come on, Kent. You know the drill.
I'll be there in a minute. I'm coming.
Hey, Ken, I don't know if this is real or not. Let's go.
I'll be there.
You're the last one, Kent. Now.
This better be a fire. Okay. Let me do this. Okay.
Come on, Kent. Boss is in the boardroom. The clients have just arrived. We're ready if you are.
We lost the account. Joe's mad. My boss is furious. And I'm on official reprimand. So as you can see, I'm time challenged.
Well, you've made the first step, Kent. You've identified the problem. Now you have to own the problem. Whose problem is it, Kent?
It's my problem.
Let's address one issue at a time. Joe?
Yes,
Does he drop in a lot?
I guess so. But I don't mind. He's a section manager too. We have a lot to talk about. And he's a good friend.
You do not have to be so welcoming of casual visitors. That includes work associates and friends.
I couldn't tell him to leave, though.
You just may have to. However, you can start off by putting up some barriers to protect yourself.
What are you suggesting? I close the door?
Why not? You could also remove places for people to sit. You can stand up yourself to give the impression that you're in a hurry and that they shouldn't contemplate settling in. You encourage Joe to stay by being attentive. Try reducing the amount of eye contact you give him. That should let him know that you have other, more important things on your mind.
And what if none of this works?
You'll have to be assertive, Kent. And tell Joe you're busy and don't have time to chat right now.
You won't get mad?
Not as mad as he'll get if you keep missing client deadlines. Who wants to give Ken another step? Reg?
Hello, Kent. Reg is the name. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Reg.
Now, Kent, you may want to try organizing your work area. I think you'll find if you keep your files trim and throw unneeded things away, your time will be repaid in kind many times over. Because you'll have more control.
More control?
Yes, that's right, Kent. More control. Freedom from chaos can be a very liberating feeling.
Thank you, Reg. I'll keep that in mind.
No problem, Kent. Anytime.
Now, what about this health and safety meeting? Did you really need to be there?
I like to keep my finger on the pulse, Alex. And I had some ideas.
Do you think perhaps you could have done that by reading the minutes and passing on your ideas to Chris?
Oh, I don't know about that. Maybe. Probably. Yes.
So from now on, you'll ensure that all your meetings have a purpose, a time limit, and only include the essential people. If you happen to be one of the essential people, come prepared with a list of items to discuss and contribute. Now talk to me about the telephone, Kent.
To tell you the truth, it drives me nuts. Every time I get my train of thought going, it rings. And it's not just the time I spend on the call. There's always some follow-up action required. Then it can take me up to 20 minutes to recapture the thought I was having before it rang.
Kent, you need to learn to manage the phone rather than let it manage you.
What do you mean?
Phones can be intrusive, so think about getting a colleague to screen your calls and take messages when you're really busy. Or maybe you could switch your phone to voicemail.
But remember, son, avoiding calls can generate callbacks.
That's right, Harold. So what should he do about that?
Set aside a time to return the calls, batch them together, and make a list of points you want to cover to ensure it's an efficient use of your time.
Thank you, Julie.
Oh, and I did notice something else, Alex. Kent has a tendency to double handle.
Double handle?
When possible, you should try and handle correspondence only once, with short letters, memos, or emails. You'll be amazed how much time this will free up for you over the course of a week.
Well, that's all very good advice. However, what really got me into trouble yesterday was the fire drill. And that was completely out of my control.
Always allow time for the unexpected, and never underestimate the time required to do a job. How long had you known about that deadline, Kent?
2 weeks.
And you allocated the 1 hour before the deadline to get the job done?
It always worked for me before.
But it didn't work this time, did it?
I guess not.
Kent, you need to plan the following day. Well, I used to think diaries and to-do lists were just silly, but they really do work. They keep you focused on things you need to achieve for the day and for the week.
Book the restaurant. Friday. Sales and board functions.
Where's all your stuff?
I filed it.
Why?
Because, Chris, freedom from chaos is a very liberating feeling. Book the restaurant.
Hey there.
Good morning.
You do not
Gee,
have to be
thanks.
so welcoming of casual visitors.
You know what I was thinking?
You can stand up yourself to give the impression that you're in a hurry.
Yeah. How about Friday?
It's my wedding anniversary Friday.
Okay, what about next week then?
You'll have to be assertive, Kent, and tell Joe you're busy and don't have time to chat right now.
Why not? Why don't we talk about it after work? I'm really snowed under here at the moment.
Okay, you're on.
Quote for Harrelson's. I'll do that later. Yeah, I've just finished programming this month's training schedule.
Kent, that sale forecast for Mr. Blair.
As you can see, the diary and the to-do list didn't change a thing. I'm on second warning. I think I'm getting worse.
It won't always be like this, Kent.
It won't? Well, then I think you better give me the next step then.
From now on, I want you to concentrate on achieving results and not just being busy. Who can tell Kent how to do that?
You have to have goals, Kent.
That's right, Reg. You need to set specific and realistic goals to help keep you focused on what you're trying to achieve, what you need to concentrate on, and what is merely a distraction from achieving success.
I have to achieve everything on my list eventually.
Yes, that's right, Kent. But they are not goals, they are tasks. If you set goals, you'll know which tasks to concentrate on and when. I'm about to do something that I don't normally do so early in the program. However, I think you're ready for it. I'm going to talk about prioritizing. It's okay, everyone. I think you can handle it. Kent, the difference between what must get done and what must get done now has to do with prioritizing. It is the key to time management. Unless you can work out what is the most important thing for you to get done, you will continually run out of time. Do you understand that, Kent? You worked very hard today, but you didn't prioritize.
What does it matter which order I do things in? The fact is they all have to get done. And apparently I'm just not capable of doing it.
Yes, you are, Kent. If you can set goals, you can prioritize them. You've developed a pattern of working on low-priority jobs. What should have been your #1 priority last week?
The McCafferty's presentation.
That's right. And today?
The sales forecast.
Good. From now on, you are going to prioritize your jobs every day. Focus on the most important tasks and do them well. You are also going to tackle the difficult jobs when appropriate, rather than put them off. If the job seems daunting, don't fall into the trap of procrastinating. Start by breaking it up into smaller, more manageable chunks. If you really are drawing a blank, seek a second opinion. It may provide that stroke of brilliance you've been looking for. Kent, can you tell me what was on your to-do list yesterday?
Organize my office, the sales award function, the systems upgrade report, booking the restaurant for Friday night, the new software training schedule, the big quote for the Haraldson account, and the quarterly sales forecast for my boss, Mr. Blair.
Well, I'm exhausted. Have you always had delusions about being Superman?
It's my job. I'm section manager, and all those things have to be done.
I'm sure it does. Can anyone make suggestions here? Lynn?
The trick is, maybe it doesn't have to be you that does it all. Maybe you can delegate some of the jobs to somebody else.
But it takes longer to tell someone to do something than it does to do it yourself.
Maybe at first, but once you teach people what needs to be done and trust them to deliver, it's going to free you up to have more time to concentrate on the really important jobs. First thing you need to decide is what you're going to delegate to somebody else. Remember, delegate the entire job. Don't give people bits and pieces. Let them have ownership and responsibility of the thing. You make clear, crystal clear instructions. You set checkpoints along the way. And remember, give credit where credit is due. Praise people when they do a good job. Makes all the difference.
You're absolutely right. I can get Chris to do the training schedules. And I'm never volunteering for invitations again. I just wish I could find someone to put together the Haraldson quote. It's so involved. And quite frankly, I just don't know where to start.
Son, you just get started. Don't let there be no messing about waiting for no motivation. Because, son, let me tell you something. It just might never come.
That's right, Kent. It's not necessary to feel like doing something in order to do it.
You'll probably be surprised at how you begin to feel motivated once you get started.
Start by breaking it up into smaller, more manageable chunks.
Order, discount schedule, delivery.
Son, you just get started. Don't let there be no messing about waiting for no motivation.
If you really are drawing a blank on something, seek a second opinion.
Kent, there's cake in the lunchroom for Harry's birthday.
I'll pass. Thanks, Chris. I'm on a roll here. Hey, Chris, can you come back in a half an hour, please? I want to brief you on how to do the sales training schedules for next month.
Yeah, sure, Kent.
Great, thank you.
We're heading to the Thai Palace for lunch. You coming?
Not today.
Okay.
Hey, Joe, before you go,
Yeah?
Do you know if the Harrelson account want their orders billed weekly or monthly?
I'm not sure. You're gonna have to give him a call.
Account schedule.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Ken. I didn't expect anyone to be here.
Oh, that's okay, Rose. What time is it?
It's 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. The restaurant. My wife. Our anniversary. So to stay out of trouble at work, I have to get into trouble at home? I thought I was doing so well.
Rome wasn't built in a day, son.
That's right. Look at what you achieved. You got started, you were focused, you worked hard, you prioritized, and you delegated. The only problem is, you exhausted yourself. You were glued to that desk for 10 hours. You need to schedule regular breaks into your day to recharge your batteries. If you don't, you'll end up making fatigue mistakes, which will cost you time in the long run.
The last thing I remember was feeling really hungry around about 5 o'clock.
And did you eat at all?
I had a banana for breakfast.
Food is our fuel. If you don't eat a healthy diet, you lose energy. You don't use your time wisely.
Thanks, Lynn. Most of us also have a certain time of the day when we're alert and firing on all cylinders. So, if you can, work to your energy levels by adjusting your most important work around your most productive hours of the day.
Kent, I was wondering about the billing schedule.
The billing schedule?
For the Harrelson quote.
I actually called them later to check. It would have been a wasted effort if I hadn't.
That's what I wanted to share with you. Always check details to avoid costly mistakes.
Thank you, Reg.
Looks like you're on the road to recovery, Kent.
We all know you can do it, Kent. And you do too.
So, that's my story. You'll be glad to know that I kept my job, and my friends, and my wife. Both Joe and I were promoted this year. Alex is still the queen of enlightenment. And Hannah hasn't killed a patient since Penny the chicken.
As you all know, today is a very special day. It was 1 year ago today that Kent started using his time to his best advantage. Congratulations, Kent.
Wow. Thank you, Alex. And thank you, everyone. Thanks for sticking by me when I really gave you no good reason to do so. You've helped make this be one of the best years of my life. And I've learned a lot. I've learned that time doesn't discriminate against any of us. I've learned how to identify problems and own them. I no longer procrastinate, and I've mastered the art of avoiding casual visitors and distractions. It goes without saying that I'm infinitely more organized, and I only attend essential meetings. On the days I'm really snowed under, I get Chris to screen my calls and take messages. I haven't underestimated the time required to do a job because I always allow time for the unexpected. The last thing I do every night is plan my day. I delegate jobs whenever possible, and that's made a huge difference to the quality of my work. Then there was the big one, prioritizing. Oh, it was right up there with Harold's, "Don't go waiting for no motivation." I can honestly say that until that day, it had never occurred to me that I didn't have to feel like doing something in order to actually do it. So in combining all these things with my new healthy diet and regular breaks, it's as if every day has 24 hours in it, which is more than enough for anyone.
Yeah.
My legs get weak, my hands start to sweat. If I have to give a speech, I just practice it and get it over with and get out of there.
Whenever I have to get up and talk in front of people, which I try not to do as much as possible.
I usually get in one position and just stand there and trying to look straight ahead.
Even the presentations at work amongst my peers, you know, even people that I know, I still get nervous.
And then the night before, I'll usually, sometimes I'll get insomnia just thinking about my performance next day or my presentation.
All that nervousness comes over me in the moment. When the room gets real still and quiet, you know, that's when it all kind of becomes overwhelming.
I avoid giving speeches at all costs.
In a well-known study, 3,000 people were asked what terrified them the most. Got a lot of different answers: bugs, heights, dying. But the #1 answer was public speaking. There's something about getting up and talking in front of a group of people that makes us crazy. And yet, speaking to other people is the most natural thing in the world.
It's so good to see you.
For enriching our personal lives,
Well, I wouldn't miss it for the world. In fact, my plane just came in last night.
running a business,
Now, someone will be coming in, they'll set up the system, show us how it operates.
or inspiring a nation. The ability to speak well has been viewed as a leadership quality throughout history. Legend has it that in ancient Greece, a great orator called Demosthenes trained himself by shouting against the sea with a mouthful of pebbles. No, I don't recommend this method unless you have a really great dental plan. Instead, let's explore some of the factors that determine how well we communicate and learn some simple and reliable techniques that can help us be more comfortable in front of people and at the same time communicate our ideas more effectively, whether to 1 or 1,000. Let's start by looking at 4 main components of public speaking. Mental, your thoughts and feelings about speaking. Visual, your physical appearance and body language. Vocal, the way you use your voice. And finally, verbal, the words you say. The first, and in some ways the most challenging thing to deal with, is mental. We're all familiar with the symptoms of stage fright: pounding heart, dry mouth, sweaty palms, heavy breathing. It helps to acknowledge that whatever the message we want to communicate, the first message we actually convey is, this is me. We put ourselves in the center of attention and feel exposed and vulnerable and maybe a little threatened. You know those butterflies in your stomach? They hatch in your mind.
Okay, Steve, you're up.
Much of stage fright has to do with performance anxiety, the fear that we're not going to do a good job, that we're going to let people down and embarrass ourselves. Of course, that's not unique to public speaking. Athletes have to deal with this kind of mental pressure all the time. They overcome it by training until they're well prepared and focusing their minds on the job at hand. The same techniques work for speakers. Let me give you some training tips.
I want you to meet my friend Shelley.
Start by realizing that you're already a public speaker.
I'm going to introduce her to the company tomorrow. She's going to be joining us. We
You
go
speak to
way-
people all day long, and the same basic things go into communicating effectively, whether to just a few or a large audience.
We've been friends for a very long time, and I'm sure she's going to be an asset to the company. Shelley.
They roll the body.
Talking with friends is easy because we've stopped being self-conscious.
Looking for. So, they discover the body and you know who the murderer is, right?
Yeah.
Wrong. Turns out the murderer is someone totally unexpected.
Oh,
Jay,
great.
right? I'm not gonna give
Great.
away.
Oh, that's
Now,
great.
I really think you all should see
I
this
have to
movie.
see this movie.
We can develop the ability to feel at ease in front of business associates, customers, or strangers. And that ability not only makes us more comfortable, but also actually makes our audience more receptive.
What happens when a customer feels that he's received poor service? Does the customer tell you so you can do something about it? No. He tells his friends so that they won't buy from you. Now, we can change all that.
Sure, we feel more confident and comfortable about something after we've had the experience of being successful at it. But what can you do before you've had the opportunity to gain all that positive experience? You can use your mind to simulate the experience. It's called mental imaging, and here's how it works. Just relax and imagine yourself feeling well prepared and confident. All right, now keeping that same feeling, see yourself giving that talk.
Might not have been so patient. But for him, catching a fish would have spoiled his day.
picture your audience being interested in what you have to say.
Feel of the grass, the sound of the water, and the thrill of doing nothing at all. Thank you.
You deliver your talk in a natural, effective way, and you're a smash.
Yeah, hey, we knew you could do it.
Really? You think I was that good? Are you going to share that with me, too? No. No, he doesn't want to share.
Finally, remember to plan some kind of reward for yourself. This will help to remind you that you are going to survive.
I'm going to try some of this pizza.
Mental rehearsal can help boost your confidence and make speaking easier when the time comes. Also realize that a certain amount of nerves or excitement can actually work for you, bringing a sense of excitement to your speech. The rest is training, learning and practicing the communication skills we're about to discuss. But first, try something with me. Place your right hand up in the air like this. Good, really do it. Okay, now make a circle with your thumb and forefinger, and very carefully, while continuing to keep the circle, place it on your chin. All right, how many of you placed your hand on your chin, which is what I asked you to do, and how many placed it on your cheek, which is what I showed you? If you touched your cheek, don't feel foolish. You're in the majority. Most people are more influenced by what they see than by the words they hear. In fact, in a study about trust and believability in communication, Dr. Albert Mehrabian of UCLA concluded that only 7% of our believability with an audience comes from the words we speak, while 38% comes from our vocal qualities, and an amazing 55% of our impact comes from our visual characteristics. And that brings us to communication factor number 2, the visual component.
Good evening. The television...
The 1960 presidential debates between John Kennedy and Richard Nixon are an excellent example of how the visual component, facial expressions, gestures, clothing, and posture can either help us get our message across or prevent people from getting our message. The debates were the first ever to be televised, and an interesting thing happened.
But let's not put it there. Let's put it in terms of the average family.
People who heard it on the radio felt that Nixon won the debate.
But good as this record is, it isn't enough.
And I think in the final analysis, it depends upon what we do here.
But those who saw it on TV said that Kennedy won. Kennedy's visual qualities, his apparent ease, his attire, his eye contact, made a stronger impression than anything the candidates were actually saying.
One road or another that you will be a successful president.
These lessons in how believability is communicated have influenced every political race since, and they are just as true for us today. There are several techniques we can use to make our appearance work for us. Thank you, sir. But it's important to remember that our objective is not to cover up who we really are. We want to enhance our "this is me" message and smooth the way for the audience to pay attention to and accept the words we've come to say. So let's start with one of the easier elements to control: clothing and grooming.
Okay, see, what I'm getting at is it's really all about trends. You know, Dow goes up, the Dow goes down.
The key here is simply to be appropriate for your audience and message.
You want to buy low, sell high. It's really kind of a simple game when you think about it.
But I
Avoid clothing, makeup, hairstyles, or jewelry that distract from you and your message.
and forth in a more profitable direction. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it depends on what you're going to use it for.
What do you mean?
In our culture, eye contact is one of the most important elements of nonverbal communication. The right amount tends to convey honesty and friendliness. It involves the listener in what you're saying.
Yeah.
But in front of a group, a lot of speakers just don't know where to look. Here we have the wanderer.
I'm prepared.
This speaker creates the impression that they lack confidence in themselves or in what they're saying.
My mom is proud of him.
We call this one the triangle. This speaker picks 3 people in the audience. Now that's fine for those people, but it makes the rest of us feel left out.
Chromatic, augmented, and diminished.
My wife and I got a small model, came back with a small model of the Empire State Building.
Then there's the ostrich. They might as well pass out copies of their speech for all the rapport they build.
We really enjoyed that. Then we went to the Philippines, and now we have something like 12 cases of manila envelopes.
But the good news is, of all the risk factors of heart disease, there are only 2.
Next time you speak before a group, try maintaining eye contact with one person for 4 to 6 seconds, then move on to another person for a similar amount of time.
Such as smoking, lack of exercise.
Then on to another, and so on. This helps to create an intimate environment and draws the attention of everyone in your audience.
A healthier lifestyle can mean a healthier and longer life.
Body language is also a powerful tool. Posture, gestures, and facial expressions can heighten the effect of your words and give your presentation flavors and textures that words alone cannot. Hand gestures are kind of the punctuation marks of body language, but people who are uncomfortable about public speaking often become very self-conscious about their hands and
This type of breed has folded ears, hence the name Scottish Fold.
many speakers lock them up in one position or repeat one motion over and over in a way that seems stiff, artificial, or just distracting. Some of these gestures are not inherently bad, any more than any one punctuation mark is wrong. But rather than illustrating and emphasizing your words,
I'm not sure what it is.
they could end up distracting and detracting from your message.
Whether you are selling merchandise or yourself, you have got to commit to the selling. So, let's get out there and sell. Bye-bye.
It's not just your hands either, it's your whole body. Plant your feet, look them in the eye, be comfortable, they're your friends. Then you're free to gesture, even take a few steps. Skip if you must. I'm kidding. It all comes with practice. And speaking of practice, the finest music ever written can be excruciating when played poorly. How well you play your instrument, your voice, plays a large role in determining how well your audience receives your message. And that's our third communication factor, the vocal component. Not what you're saying, but the way you say it.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Even those of us who don't mind speaking in front of groups may lack good vocal qualities.
criminal, such a heinous crime.
As the speaker, you may understand what you're saying, but garbled words, rushed speech, and uneven volume can have an irritating effect on the listener. And of course, your audience can't go along with your ideas if they can't understand them.
Find any real reason?
My rafting trip down the Amazon was the most exciting adventure of my life. Adrenaline surged through my veins like the raging torrent upon which I rode.
A monotonous delivery quickly grows tiresome. If you're interested in your subject, let it show through your voice.
As our fragile craft pitched and tossed among the razor-toothed crocodile.
I want to thank, wow, thanks.
Being well prepared and well rehearsed will go a long way toward avoiding this problem. If you're saying, you're really just killing time. So remember, there's nothing wrong with a little silence now and then, while you think of the next thing to say. With the increasing use of video in organizations these days, any one of us is liable to find ourselves on TV. Don't be nervous. Here's a few things to keep in mind to make the best visual and vocal impression. Bright red tends to bleed. Also, large areas of white or black can cause problems. As you can see, certain designs can cause problems on TV and possibly in your life, so avoid tight stripes, checks, and other patterns. Can I keep this, please? Okay, now let's turn to the fourth and final element of effective speaking, words, the verbal component. Keep your purpose in mind. What is the outcome you're intending? Is it to inspire, to motivate, to persuade? As attractive as you make your visual and vocal package, it's, after all, what's inside the package that you want the audience to hear. You.
Look, on our team, if our ship hits an iceberg, I want people that are going to bail water and paddle like crazy.
Use words to create pictures and stories to create involvement. The more vividly we use language, the more effectively we communicate our ideas.
I am, to say the least, disinclined to vituperate those...
Make your words as appropriate as you would your appearance. Keep language simple and direct. Don't forget to use words that are understandable and appropriate to your audience.
And while I do echo Cicero, viver est cogitare, is it not veracious ipso facto that indulgence serves more to obfuscate than elucidate? Well, I could say it's just about time for a nap, so we'll take a quick nap, and then after that we'll go straight to coloring.
No.
Try to avoid getting lost on tangents by focusing on the purpose of your talk.
Anyone interested in the American Revolution should visit Philadelphia. Oh, I remember my first trip there. The Fifth Dimension was giving a concert. You remember them. Up, up and away in my beautiful balloon. I took a balloon ride once. It was up in Maine. We had to be there at the crack of dawn. Oh, let me tell you, the only things singing at that time of the morning are the birds. Have you ever owned a bird?
Robert Burns, the Scottish poet, wished for the power to see ourselves as others see us. It would from many a blunder free us. 2 centuries later, his wish has come true.
So, in conclusion, when making a cheese souffle, it's very important to consider the cheese.
The video camera is a great tool for spotting and correcting mistakes.
Make a souffle that's appealing to the whole public. No.
But there's really no substitute for getting up and speaking in front of others. Fortunately, there are many workshops and seminars where you have the opportunity to work on presentation skills, see yourself on video, and receive helpful feedback.
I work with a lot of different people, a lot of different companies, do a lot of different types of jobs at work. Actually,
These people were taped at the start of a 2-day video workshop.
Over the phone.
And they were taped again at the end of the workshop.
They pull the chute on you, dead silence, and you're up there with the birds.
My work basically involves just working on budgets for films and a lot of accounting and that kind of thing. And let's see, and flames shot up through the hood, and this big paint bubble formed on the hood, and I just jumped out of the car. And fortunately enough, there was an oxygen delivery truck.
And had some very nice success with that. It was just something that I experimented with in a residential facility for problem teenagers. Okay, so picture this. My little chunky 1-year-old nephew sitting there in his stroller. Here's the basketball hoop. Kid is in love with basketball. Just loves it, but he hasn't even walked yet.
Welcome, Virginia Rodriguez. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests.
There are also clubs and organizations which meet on an ongoing basis. Toastmasters International is one of the oldest and best known. There you receive training, have the opportunity to make speeches, and be critiqued by your peers.
Other hospitals.
The thing that you have to keep in your mind is, what is the idea? What is the single thought? What is it you want your audience to come away with? And if you can focus on that one idea and get excited about that idea, the energy will flow.
No one knows more about the relationship between speaking skills and confidence than Terence McCann. He is a former Olympic athlete, the executive director of Toastmasters International, and an accomplished public speaker. But he didn't start out that way.
When someone wins a gold medal in the Olympics, things happen to them, things that you never expect. Everybody in your city wants to hear the story. They want to know all about the Olympics. I remember very vividly I was invited to speak to the Tulsa Lions Club. And I had never given a public speech before. And I was absolutely terrified. And it was there that I realized that if you're going to be successful in anything in life, you had better become a good communicator. Through practice, stage fright is controlled. And you have to put in the hours and try every little technique, every little thing that you've learned or you've seen other speakers use in order to communicate so that the audience is with you.
Putting your communication skills into practice is the most important thing you can do to build the confidence that's essential to being a really effective speaker. So look for opportunities to participate in conversations and to speak before groups of people. Because the more you do it, the better you'll become. And the better your skills get, the more confidence you'll feel.
Brenda.
Start by giving yourself credit for the public speaking you already do. Remember that the same basic things go into effective speaking, whether to a few or a large audience.
Shelly.
Being well prepared for your talk will help you feel more relaxed and confident. Try mental imaging.
Well, your job is...
Remember that the visual component determines much of our impact on an audience.
Oh, sell high.
As the economic...
Make clothing and grooming appropriate for the audience and the occasion.
You don't need as much
Use a comfortable amount of eye contact to build rapport. Keep posture and gestures natural. Use your voice in a way that conveys interest in what you're saying.
upon which I rode.
If our ship
Use stories and word pictures to create interest and involvement.
paddle like crazy.
Well,
Match your choice of words to your audience.
Viver est cogitare.
Focus on your purpose and stay on track.
Away in my beautiful balloon.
And finally, practice and participate. Get as much experience as you can to create an upward spiral of improving skills and confidence. Whether you want to inform, motivate, entertain, or simply convey a favorable impression of yourself, the ability to speak effectively is one of the most valuable tools you can have. Practice the techniques we've been discussing, and you'll see your skills and confidence improve. Otherwise, well, so is the pebbles. Nah, what am I, kidding? Forget the pebbles.
I'm DeWitt Jones. I've spent my life wandering the globe as a photojournalist, photographing stories for National Geographic. I've seen some incredible sights. And I've learned that amazing things are out there for all of us to see every day, no matter what we are doing. Whether we see them or not depends on our perspective, our point of view. In short, on our ability to be creative. We all have that ability. How do we access it? How do we bring it out? Every day, in everything we do. What is creativity? Well, having spent my life in one creative endeavor after another, I can tell you it's not something magical or mystical. It's something very simple. To me, creativity is just a moment. A moment. A moment where we look at the ordinary, but we see the extraordinary. Happens all the time in my photography. Look at the ordinary, see the extraordinary. We've all done it. We've all had those moments where life was extraordinary, and you know how great it feels when that's happening. To me, it feels like falling in love. Not the most professional, business-like image. I'm sorry, that's what it feels like. And it really doesn't surprise me, because I think at the base of it, that's what creativity is. It's just falling in love with the world. And when we're in love with the world, we're in touch with a source of incredible energy. We call it passion. Passion. What most of us wouldn't give to be connected to our passion on a daily basis. We all have that potential, just like we have the potential to fall in love, but how do we bring it out so that we can find extraordinary solutions to the challenges we face every day? I need my creativity every day, because I'm not out here on vacation. I'm going to work, just like you. And I've got assignments, and I've got deadlines, and I've got performance reviews. Going to work just like you every day and trying to add value to what I do. We all do it. How can we do it better? How can we use our creativity every day to make our work and our lives truly extraordinary? I think many of us were raised thinking we could never be creative. When I was growing up, creativity was always associated with art. Art was associated with painting and sculpture. And if you didn't do that, you were out of the loop. And yet, if creativity is just falling in love with the world, then in every act, I have the potential for doing something creative. My life can be my art. Whether I'm taking a photograph or talking to a client, raising a family, volunteering in my community, every act has the potential to transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. Creativity is a matter of perspective. Let me explain. The first thing I have to decide as a photographer is what lens do I have on my camera? In other words, what perspective am I going to view a problem from to find that extraordinary view? And if I don't have the right perspective going in, I don't have a chance of finding something truly extraordinary. I remember a photograph I took of Yosemite Falls. Not a bad photograph. I'd already gotten rid of a lot of things that might distract you from viewing the falls, like the parking lot I'm standing in and the visitor center, but a lot of people would have said, that's a great photograph, DeWitt. But as I looked through the lens, I thought, is this really the essence of Yosemite Falls? Is this what got me so excited that I ran all the way across the meadow and set up my cameras? Realized it wasn't. What had drawn my eye up there in the first place was just that area way down at the bottom. Just that tree and the falls behind it. I had the wrong lens, the wrong perspective, the wrong angle of view, and when I changed my perspective, then I found a real photograph. The lens we choose when we view a problem is critical. Our perspective is what holds the key to whether the solution is ordinary or extraordinary. So first we have to find the right perspective. If we can't learn to change lenses, we're trapped. But I've learned there's always another perspective. And when we believe that, it can transform the whole way we look at life. In fact, that's probably the most important thing about creativity that I've learned from my photography. There's more than one right answer. Yeah, it seems so simple, but it is the key to creativity. There are 1,000 ways to come at a problem, to find a creative solution, and I know that so clearly from my photography, but sometimes it's just so hard to bring over into the rest of my life. Geographic sent me up to the town of Smith River on the north coast of California. They raise about 80% of the Easter lilies in the country around that village, and that was the story I had to tell. This was my first solution. I've got a frame with picked lilies and unpicked lilies, and the boy picking them, and good body language as he puts them in the box, and a little bit of the region's weather and the architecture. One right answer. Pretty good one. But I'd never think of stopping there. As a photographer, I immediately grabbed another lens, walked over a couple rows, knelt down, and found another right answer. Same parameters of the problem, now seen from a totally different point of view. My favorite right answer that day was this one. 3 right answers. Boy, so many things begin to change when you come at the world from that perspective of more than one right answer. First thing is, we don't stop at the initial right answer. That answer's just doing our job. Anybody ought to be able to come up with one right answer. I remember another forest I was in one time. The Geographic sent me up to the Redwoods. A beautiful place, but one that had been shot 1,000,000 times. I was going to have to come up with another perspective. And I was out there in the morning, and it was gorgeous, but I was shooting postcards. Nothing new, nothing different. I could go down to the visitor center and buy something like this. It was not going to shake them up at the Geographic. I had to find the next right answer. But I know it's there. So I just kept going, you know? And eventually I'm down on that path in the mud, looking up through some rhododendron, and I saw this photograph. And I've sold this photograph more than any picture I've ever taken in my life. When we work from that perspective, then as we press out looking for the next right answer, we do so not in terror, but comfortably, you know, knowing that it's going to be there for you. And you begin to embrace change rather than fear it. We begin to hit the world with a sense of abundance rather than scarcity. And you just get more and more comfortable with reframing a problem into an opportunity. Problem, opportunity. Problem, opportunity. Reframing a problem into an opportunity. Finding another angle. And you know, being comfortable and confident that that next right answer is going to be there for us. Now, you can't do that, and you won't do that, if you're afraid to make mistakes. That's my photograph. I took it. Not very exciting. I mean, I've chosen a wide-angle lens that distorts this poor girl's feet till they're as big as her face. Certainly chosen a horrible moment to photograph her face. Overexposed light in the background. I mean, there is not much to redeem this photograph, except that it's my daughter, and I think she looks good in any situation. But if I was afraid to make mistakes, this would be the kind of photograph just make me pack up my cameras, put them in the closet, never take them out again. But I'm not thinking about that. Do you know that the average Geographic article is shot in 400 rolls of film? 400 rolls. That's over 14,000 images to get the 30 that go in an article. I'm not thinking about making mistakes. I'm looking for the next right answer. Something's exciting me here. I stayed with it. A few minutes later, she fell asleep, and I took this photograph. Cleaned out the background, used light to bring you in on her, but still, what's the essence of this picture? What's the next right answer? There's the photograph. There's the photograph. And if I was afraid to make mistakes, if I never took the risk to think out of the box, to press out against my own comfortable envelope, you know, I'd still be back here, wondering why it didn't work. Now, I don't like to make mistakes. I want those things that I execute based on the best information that I can get at the time. I want them done with the best technique that I can train myself to. I want them in alignment with my personal vision and my employer's vision. And then, hey, if it's a mistake, how do I learn from it? How do I turn a win-lose situation into a win-learn situation? How do I turn it into a little victory? And how do I put those little victories together to move from something like this to something like this? Because when we're not afraid to make mistakes, and when we really believe that there's more than one right answer, that's when we begin to break the patterns in our lives. Patterns, systems, they're incredibly important. We can't function without them. But we all know that if we let our patterns go too long unquestioned, they become our prisons. I remember a shot I took in the wine country. Hold on this photograph long enough and you lose interest. The pattern just becomes repetitive. It's just same old, same old. But if we break that pattern a little, don't destroy it, just question it. Add the red bucket and the whole picture changes. Just as you're beginning to get bored with the pattern, the bucket shakes it up and makes your eye look at it all over again. That's what we have to do. Break the pattern. It may be the first step in learning how to fly. Because when we break the patterns, then everything is always in question, even when it's going well. You're always saying, why do we do it this way? How can we do it better? And it's that perspective that will really allow you to bring vision into focus. Because whenever we can get that critical focus, we always discover that we can do a lot more with a lot less. Whenever my photographs do that, they become simple and powerful and strong. We find that sense of positive synergy, where the whole becomes so much greater than the sum of those well-focused parts. We've got the right mindset for creativity, the right vision. But there's something else we have to do so that we don't miss those extraordinary moments. We have to train our technique. That's critical, because vision without technique is blind. I want my technique honed to a razor's edge so that when there is a decisive moment, when that foot lifts off the ground, I'm not worried about what film is in my camera. I'm there ready to capture that extraordinary view. So first we have to train our technique. And then we have to put ourselves in the place of most potential. The place of most potential. The place where I have the most possibility of finding multiple right answers. I remember one time I was shooting an aerial of Lake Powell in Arizona. And I looked down from the plane and I saw a car there in an uninhabited part of the lake, a car and a road. I didn't even know anybody could get out there. And yet seeing it, I knew it was possible. And knowing it was possible, I went back and I studied charts and I figured out a particular day that I wanted to be there, and I rented a four-wheel drive, and I was there the night the full moon rose over the lake. And when you're there in the place of most potential, God, those right answers just keep coming. Life presents us with windows of opportunity. What the French photographer Cartier-Bresson called decisive moments, moments where it all comes together and we have to be ready to take advantage of them. Sometimes they're there just for an instant. Other times they require great patience, days, months, patience to focus the vision and wait. Same shot, 3 months later. Having the vision, training our technique, putting ourselves in the place of most potential, being patient, and being ready to take advantage of those windows of opportunity. So creativity is not just about vision and passion. It's about technique and perseverance as well. It's a balance of emotion, of intellect, that springs from really caring about what we do. Really caring. Really caring about the people that we work with and the projects that we work on. Really caring. I mean, when the people I photograph know that they are as important to me as my pictures, they open like flowers. And I find that the light that really lights my pictures is not the light from the outside. It's the light from within. Now let me show you how all these techniques go together. I was on a shoot over in Scotland for Dewar Scotch. I had to photograph salmon fishing on Scotland's River Tweed. And I'd done my homework. We came down that windy road to the River Tweed. I had images of backlit salmon and silver cataracts and leaping fish, and that windy road delivered us, and there it was. It looked like the East Sandusky River, the river without drama. My art director was Carsick. He said, "You figure it out, DeWitt." I mean, so it was up to me. How many times is it up to you? I got talking to one of the guides, the gillies, the gentleman there in the foreground. Each beat of the river has a different gilly, a different guide, and they know every rock and every shoal and every riffle. And he told me that salmon fishing in Scotland's a very formal affair. You wear a coat and a tie and a hat and chest waders. Then he told me that when you catch a salmon on his beat, you bring it up to the fish house, and there's a leather book, and in that book is listed every salmon that's been caught on that beat in the last 100 years. Now I'm getting intrigued. And then he said, "You know, DeWitt, there was mist on the water this morning. That's unusual for this time of year." And my intellect climbed all over it. It said, I want to be in the place of most potential. So I'm out there 2 hours before dawn, and when the sun's coming up, I got the boats, I got the fishermen, I got the gilly, I got the right lens, I got the right focus, I got my first right answer. And then my intuition said, "Turn around, DeWitt. You're shooting the wrong way." Oh, yes, sir, I listened. Now it was really getting good. I'm trying to pay attention. My intellect finds that that light's going to come up behind the trees in the background, so I yelled at the guys to get down there because I want to be in the place of most potential, and man, now it's really getting nice. I'm not worried about making mistakes. I'm looking for the next right answer, and they just kept coming. And this was the final ad. Why would a man rise before dawn to fish for salmon on Scotland's River Tweed? Why indeed? The good things in life stay that way.